Minus One. This was personally one of my favorite Godzilla movies. It was surprisingly super good, seeing, you know, the budget that they had. Great storyline, a great movie, but at the end, if you didn't see, he started forming back together after he was defeated. So what if in the next movie, Godzilla Minus Two, maybe, I don't know, what if he started to evolve? In the next movie, we have Godzilla Minus One, but evolved. What would that look like? And we are going to be seeing this in a video by Goji Center titled, What If Godzilla Minus One Evolved Like Legendary Godzilla? That is an interesting topic. What do you guys think? What would it look like?
What if
maybe this is what it looks like?
Destructive and ruthless incarnations of
favorite
Godzilla
atomic breath of all time.
got even worse.
Love it.
This episode of Goji Center,
if you guys haven't yet, scroll down, hit that subscribe button. We're either this close to a million, or we've hit a million by the time you see this. Much love to you guys, man. I love you all. Crazy.
Lot worse.
Let's go.
What if Godzilla Minus One evolved?
No, that was kind of sick.
In the 2023 film Godzilla Minus One, we got one of very few looks at the Big G before it became so big.
A little
Shown in
Godzilla
the opening
Saurus
sequence
action.
set in 1945,
Something
Godzilla
like that.
was already regarded as something more than a mere giant animal by the people of Odo Island.
Nah, he looks
regarded
crazy.
as something uncanny and perhaps supernatural by the people of the area, this earlier state of Godzilla already showed fantastic
Such a good
abilities.
movie, man.
At over
Such a good
15
movie.
meters tall, some estimated scaling would put this initial form between 550 and 700 tons.
That's a large
Just
boy.
to hold itself up at that size, let alone moving and regenerating from the nuclear blast, it did in fact require Godzilla to already
The
be
budget that they had.
drastically tougher than
That
any
shocks me.
creature to ever exist. In other words, Shikishima's moment of fear saved his life. Those 20mm cannons
Oh,
wouldn't have
yeah,
done
they
a
wouldn't have done
thing,
anything.
even with a headshot. Combined
Oh, he
with
looked
Godzilla
right at him,
choosing
too,
not
dude.
to attack the plane, despite clearly seeing our hero and parts of the novelization fleshing out how it thinks, and it becomes very clear this is not a mere giant dinosaur. In Shintoism, the native belief system in Japan and surrounding islands, the boundary between what
He's
is
knowledgeable.
natural and supernatural can be a blurry one. Under the right circumstances, places, people, and even animals can become kami, a word that can mean phenomena, spirit, or god, depending on context. This Godzilla was already
makes sense.
uncanny. The film's director, Takashi Yamazaki, said as much. Considering the natives of Odo Island already knew of this giant beast and revered it as such, they might have been onto something. Fast forwarding in time, this Godzilla
little
found
fast
itself
forward
caught
action.
in the blast of Operation Crossroads Baker test. Withstanding the 23 kiloton explosion and radiation, Godzilla's regenerative ability went into overdrive trying to stabilize it. It is here where the film's novelization
Then my boy
makes it
started to get
clear
towards
that
the
resting
Godzilla
giant was filled
look.
with a terrible resolve once it deduced humans were the cause of
Looks
this.
nasty.
Now less
a
animal
good
and
way.
more a living curse. Things take a slightly different turn.
That
when
is
the
a
now
living curse. That's
50.1
such a good way to
meter
put
tall
it.
Leviathan turns northward. Maybe the vengeful Kami had sensed something in the Northern Ocean that could help with its pains. Something across the Arctic Ocean under the ice caps that would help it
A little
get its
Tiamat
revenge.
action?
Now, in our scenario,
Perhaps.
the only element from the Monsterverse is the energy stockpile under White Island we saw in the New Empire. So Minus won't have to square off in a David and Goliath battle.
Yeah, I was
with
gonna
any
say,
titans
Tiamat,
like
I
Tiamat.
think, might win
Taking
that,
longer
unless
than his Monsterverse
Godzilla Minus One
counterpart,
can get that
Godzilla
atomic
would
breath
still
off.
soak up nature's bounty of energy to turn it loose on mankind, becoming this.
Evolved Godzilla Minus One.
Now, this hypothetical new state
Godzilla
wouldn't
Minus
look
Two,
exactly
maybe?
like the evolved Godzilla we know and love, as Godzilla's new look to square up with Scar King's forces was partially an adaptation
More
of copying
spikes.
DNA from Tiamat and further juicing up
Pinkish
from a modern
color.
nuclear facility. Still,
Sick.
the effect would be noticeable all the same.
Oh, nah,
New
that's sick.
spines, longer limbs, and a
The new
somewhat
Godzilla
slimmed-down
Minus
build,
One Evolved
and
is
far more
beautiful.
destructive potential.
See, I hope
Minus
they do
One,
something like
infamous
that. That would be
blast
so
of a
sick.
breath attack would take on
Imagine.
terrifying new traits too, but we'll get back to that in a minute.
Yeah,
And
imagine
this
the new
look
atomic breath.
also comes with a few new devastating perks, ones that would carve a path
That
of
would be
devastation
crazy.
across the Pacific at an even faster rate than it had in the movie.
Oh, that
This
looks so good.
turbocharged Godzilla would relentlessly destroy anything it so much as
Turbo
got an
G?
indication of. Tellingly, there would be no warning when these attacks happened until the path of wreckage was found.
Yeah.
No radio calls, no distress
Good luck with
signals,
that one.
and nothing but claw marks and burned slag left
They
behind
barely got
of
'em
whole
regular.
warships. And with it attacking
Now he's
both
evolved?
sides with wild abandon and leaving no survivors, both superpowers might mistake Godzilla's actions for those of the other side. World War III might risk
Nah,
breaking
they
out
can
over this
communicate.
rampage
Just be
with
like, look, it
multiple
wasn't you, it
nations
wasn't
hunting
me,
the culprits
so it
and
must be
each
G.
other. With the sheer number of sea mines still left over from the last war, Shikishima and company would have plenty of work to do. This means the infamous boat attack probably happened more or less the same way it did before, only now with a faster turbocharged
I think it would be
Godzilla
pretty
on the
obvious that it
hunt.
was Godzilla
If
doing
they
it.
survive with a timely intervention
Oh, no.
of the Takao or other ships engaging the monster, Dr. Kenji Noda might notice something when an ominous pink glow appears underwater. A lot of the communication equipment
It's either
and more
Godzilla or
advanced
Kirby? I
electronics
don't know.
would be going haywire.
I'm gonna
There's
go
a
Godzilla.
destructive new trait to one of the most destructive atomic breaths ever.
Let's see.
Now,
Let me
to
see.
clear up a bit of a misconception circulating the internet.
It's gotta look
Because
cooler.
if it's on the net, it must be true.
Yeah, that's
Different
false.
types of radiation like high-energy gamma rays don't actually have a color. Color is just a spectrum of light we're able to see, and most high-energy radiation is way outside that
That's true,
spectrum.
that's true.
All colors are a mixture of the two opposite sides of the spectrum.
Which is
Blues
kinda
at the
crazy
highest
when you think
energy
about it.
and
I
reds
don't
at
like
the
to dive
lowest.
too deep into that.
Pink is the exception. Pink colored
My
energy
eyes!
is what your
Oh
brain
my-
perceives when
Give
it
me
can't
a
figure
warning,
out what has a
Goji.
higher
Goodness.
energy than blue and a lower energy than red. It's almost like your eyes are glitching.
Hey, yo!
What does this mean in the case where too much pink energy is dangerous?
My
It means
goodness,
a
I'm
whole
gonna see in
spectrum of
3D for the rest of the
electromagnetic
day.
energy and charged particles is being fired out every time. Not just with much more heat and potentially explosive force that ignites the matter around the beam, but there are also now massive EMP blasts every time Evolved -1 fires. In a modern setting, this would make the Evolved -1 borderline impossible to fight effectively.
Yeah, there's no way you'd be
because
able to defeat him,
every
bro.
time it uses its breath or exerts its might,
It was
could
already like
permanently
that
knock out the
during
whole
his
power
first
grid
form?
for miles.
Technically second
Radio
form?
and other important frequencies would get
But this
scrambled
form.
just from being nearby, and most advanced technology wouldn't work.
I need an
The attack
animation
in
of
Ginza would
Godzilla
probably
minus one
result in
evolved.
huge amounts of
Versus
Japan
somebody.
losing power
Evolved
and
Godzilla?
a lot of communication equipment being made inoperable.
He needs to be
Doesn't
taller,
just
though.
turn off some types of technology.
Just
it
because.
fries it. The world's governments wouldn't stand a chance ignoring all of that. The
Yeah,
setting being
everybody
in the
would be cooked.
1940s might be the only saving grace for the heroes faced with this kind of menace. More complex electrical transistors and grids were less common back then, and vacuum tube technology that is antique by the modern standards would hold up against EMPs a lot better. Operation Watatsumi might have to go from a desperate struggle by a small group into a national effort to use the one plan that might work to stop this nightmare.
And good luck, because they
And
stopped
as
them
the
last
movie
time,
showed,
technically.
there's no guarantee
But
it
right
would
here,
succeed. Killing a
it didn't even work. He just keeps evolving, so, like,
not simple.
Can you really defeat him? Probably not. I don't know, bro. I think he just keeps evolving into like Godzilla -3 or something. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video, though. Thank you for watching with me. I love ya. Goodbye.